Congressman Adam Schiff. He's the ranking Democrat on the House Select Committee on Intelligence. Now, I spoke to him late this afternoon. When I spoke to him, Director Comey had met with the congressman's Senate counterparts. Congressman Schiff, I want to get your reaction to some new CNN reporting that federal investigators and computer scientists continue to examine whether there was a computer server connection between the Trump organization and a Russian bank, and that's according to sources close to the investigation. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I can only say this. I'm certainly aware of the public reports going back now some months about an alleged connection between Alpha Bank servers and potentially a server affiliated with the Trump campaign. And I can say, what I think the questions we ought to be asking in the committee are. I can't tell you what answers we may or may not be receiving. But I think we need to ask, are these allegations credible? Have the allegations been investigated by authorities? If so, what have they found? Did they reach a conclusion, or is that investigation still ongoing? What leads remain to be tracked down? So these are the kind of questions I think that our committee ought to be asking. But again, I can't go into anything that we are able to find out until the conclusion of the investigation.
But I mean, can you? I mean, it certainly seems as if there could be a completely benign explanation for this.
I certainly reserve judgment in terms of whether this is completely benign or whether there's something more here. That is exactly, I think, what we need to determine. And this Alpha Bank issue is just one of many issues that we have been reading about in the open press for some months now. And again, I don't think we want to predetermine where the conclusion will be and what merit any of these allegations have. But if they are credible, then I think it's our responsibility of the committee to determine whether they've been adequately vetted, what we know, and whether there's further investigation that needs to be done.
CNN is also told, and I don't want to be precise about our reporting, that the server issue surfaced again this weekend, mentioned in a Breitbart article that sparked President Trump's series of tweets accusing investigators of tapping his phone, or President Obama of tapping his phone. Does any of that, or if you can say, does any of that align with what you believe the president's motivations were for lashing out at former President Obama?
Anderson, I can only say I have really no idea what caused President Trump to assert that his predecessor was engaged in that kind of criminality. It seems completely divorced from reality, so I have really no idea where this came from, and I think it's pretty clear that that's true of my Republican colleagues as well, and indeed many in the White House. When Sean Spicer doesn't want to talk about it, not even he can spin this kind of specious allegation.
You think that's why the White House is saying, look, we're not going to talk about this anymore, it's going to be investigated by Congress?
Absolutely. I think, they had no way to defend these remarks. They were so incendiary and out of bounds that the best they could do is say, let's give it to the investigative committees and please don't ask us about it anymore. But, as I mentioned before, be careful what you wish for. We're going to have an open hearing now, and this will be one of the topics. We'll be able to ask the director of the FBI very directly if, in fact, he wanted the Justice Department to refute this and they were unwilling. He'll have the opportunity to do it himself.
Yeah, that open hearing is obviously going to be March 20th. CNN is reporting that Director Comey is in the process of meeting with the so-called Gang of Eight, the highest-ranking members of Congress, read in on intelligence matters. I know there's certainly a lot you cannot discuss about that. I do have to ask, what do you want to ask him about President Trump's wiretap accusation?
Well, I can't, at all comment on Gang of Eight meetings. I can say, in terms of what we look for from the director from the FBI, both in committee and generally as a member of the Gang of Eight. As a general matter, as part of the Gang of Eight, we want to be informed on a periodic basis of the most significant counterintelligence investigations going on in the country. That is by agreement of the Congress and the Bureau. That is the practice. And we want to make sure that that is being adhered to and it's complete. In terms of the committee, there's no way that we can discharge our responsibilities if the FBI isn't willing to cooperate with us and tell us about any counterintelligence investigation that is going on or has gone on that's within the scope of our investigative responsibilities. So that's a point I've underscored with the director, and it's my hope that when he comes back to the committee, we'll have a more fulsome discussion of what, if any, issues the FBI has looked into.
Congressman Schiff, I appreciate your time. Thank you.